So now we've got a lot to go over with dining services. So let me introduce my great colleagues who are with me here today. We have Michelle Blaze, who is the Director of Wellness and Nutrition, and Robert Noyes, who is the Director of Retail Operations. So I'm going to hand it over to both of them, and then we'll get to questions afterward. Michelle and Bobby, take it away.
Great. So we will be reviewing a good overview of what dining has to offer for students. We won't be going into minute details. If there's anything individually that you need to know about your students specifically, feel free to reach out to us and we can work. So my name is Michelle Blaze. I am a registered dietitian. I'm the Director of Wellness and Nutrition here for Dining Services. And we have Bobby Noyes with us, who is our Director of Retail Operations. He covers all of the units that are not within the residential dining units, and we'll get to what that means. But we're really excited to be here and talk with you today. So, residential dining units. That means all you care to eat. So the way that it works is your student comes into the dining hall, they have their ID with them, they give it to the cashier swipes their card. If they have a meal plan on their account, they'll be able to walk in and they'll be able to have as much or as little as they'd like while they're in the dining hall. The top photo is the Sharp Refectory. It is our largest dining unit on campus. It serves about 5,000 meals a day, probably a little bit more than that, certainly a little bit more than that in the beginning of the semester. And then that bottom picture is our Verney Woolley dining hall. Hours are posted right there. So it's for the Sharp Refectory, 7:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m., the Verney Woolley, 7:30 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. It accepts all major forms of payment. Your swipes and your points, we'll get into a little bit more of what that means, but your students shouldn't go hungry. They'll be able to eat however much they like while they're in the dining hall. In the Sharp Refectory dining hall, we do have a couple of different new stations, including a full kosher kitchen. So we have a dairy side and a meat side of the kosher kitchen. We also have a halal platform in the Sharp Refectory, as well as which opened all at the same time with our allergy aware kitchen, which we'll talk about in a little bit.
Thanks, Michelle. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Robert Noyes. I'm the Director of Retail Operations on campus. So what retail really consists of is, as Michelle touched on in her earlier slide, is every dining unit that we operate that's not in one of our residential units. So we have them listed here on the slide. I'll start with Andrews Commons. That's our largest one. It is concept specific. So we have a large walk platform there. We also have a Woodstone pizza oven there. We have a salad station, make your own sandwich station, and we do a very popular brunch service on the weekends in that location. We have the Ivy Room on campus. They're famous for smoothies, salads, sandwiches. It's actually located below our main dining room in the Sharp Refectory. So it is a very busy unit, high traffic there. And then we have Josiah's. That's our late night unit. That's near and dear to our students' hearts as well as mine. We have classic kind of late night meals there. And a fun fact is this kind of gets lost because we do serve quite a bit of burgers and fries, but we actually have the largest salad bar on campus, serving grains, greens, local vegetables. So that's something that I like to point out, that a service that we offer there. And in retail, we're kind of broken into two different segments. So these locations that you see on your screen now are our retail dining halls. We serve full meals in these locations. So we do accept meal swipes in the form of meal combos. And then we also accept points, cash credit, and bear bucks. And we'll touch on those tenders a little bit later in the presentation. So the next segment of retail is our quick service cafes. I'll start with the Blue Room. That's located in Campus Center, by far our busiest retail location. It's a coffee bar, if you will, but I'd say coffee and more. We really specialize in sandwiches. We have local pastries from bakeries throughout Providence, but also our in-house bake shop. We feature a lot of goods from there as well. Below the Blue Room, we have the Campus Market. That's our C-store on campus. So that's really designed for grab and go, on the go, and convenience items. And then we have a coffee bar in the ERC Cafe. That's in our School of Engineering. It's in our lobby. It's a beautiful space. Menu and offerings are very similar to the Blue Room. It specializes in coffee. We have fully trained baristas there. Same pastries, sandwiches, and salads that you'll find at the Blue Room. And at these units, as I mentioned, they're more convenience and on the go. So we don't serve full meals here. So for that reason, our accepted payments here are Flex Points, which are part of the meal plan, Bear Bucks, which is a university declining balance, and cash and credit. All right, so meal plans. I can get a little bit more in detail with what these tenders mean and how they actually operate. So a meal credit, meal swipe, or swipe as it'll be referred to, allows you entry into all You Care to Eat dining facilities, and they also entitle you to a meal combo in our retail dining halls. So that's Andrews Commons, that's Josiah's, and that's the Ivy Room. Flex Points are kind of like a declining balance or cash on hand. It's built in, it's part of the meal plan. It can be used at any dining facility throughout campus, but it's really designed to be used at the Blue Room, at our campus market, at the ERC Cafe. And then we have Bear Bucks. That's a university tender. It's not managed through dining, but it can be used at all our dining facilities in addition to the bookstore and for laundry services. It's a dollar for dollar declining balance, similar to the Flex Points. It's just not connected to the meal plan. And you'll also see here a snapshot of our meal plan overview. And I do want to point out, I believe Mikkel is going to link this in the chat, that we have a very detailed page on our website that goes into each and every meal plan that we have. It explains the differences. It explains all these tenders in more detail and the pricing structure and everything associated with meal plans. So if you have questions, I encourage you to check that out. Our meal plan can be managed through mycard.brown.edu. So any changes, again, there's an FAQ page that has a lot of great information there. Everything is done through this portal. So that's a key site right there. And it has a lot of good information. So it's definitely worth checking out. And meal plan starts this year, August 28th at 4 p.m. for dinner. So we're very excited for that.
And so first year students have the option to choose between the 20 weekly or the Flex 460 plan. The last day to make those changes between those two meal plans, should your student want to choose one or the other, is September 11th. It is important to note you can't make any changes after that date. And then once the semester starts, well, once students move in on August 28th, between the dates of August 28th and September 11th, you can only make one meal plan change. Between now and August 28th, students can change 100 different times if they so choose. Again, that is done on mycard.brown.edu. But it is important to remember after September 11th, the meal plan change, you cannot change your meal plan. Mid-semester changes are not made. Important dates to remember.
Absolutely.
So Brown really prides itself, is really proud of the fact that we have a few different sustainability efforts that help keep the planet and our students healthy. So one of them is, our newest one is the reusable container program. So last spring, we went mandatory in our residential dining units, which is the Sharp Refectory and the Verney Woolley, for students to take food to go from the dining hall. They sign up for a reusable container program. The way it works is students sign up on their phones. They get a QR code that's unique to them. When the student wants to check out a reusable container, they go up to the cashier when they're walking in. They say, I'd like a container. They scan the QR code on their phone. The cashier scans a QR code that's attached to all of the containers, which you'll see in that bottom photo, that little white box on that green container is a QR code. And then that container is assigned to that student for the duration that they own it, which can be 3 to 5 days. The student takes the food that they'd like, they leave the dining hall, they eat what they'd like. When they bring it back, they just drop the container in one of our drop boxes. We wash and sanitize, and then we put that container back into the rotation. So students don't have to worry about washing it. They don't have to worry about cleaning it out. We do all of that. All they have to do is take their food and then come back. We've been really proud of the way that students have been adopting this new reusable container program. It's helped save thousands of pounds of trash going into the landfill of the previous compostable containers, which weren't always composted. Some other ways that we help with our sustainability efforts is through menu planning. So we make sure that we don't forecast food too much. And so we're not planning for too much food when we aren't expecting that many students, as well as some other things like we have an initiative on campus to reduce the amount of red meat that we're serving, which includes beef and pork, and increase the amount of plant-based foods that we're serving. That doesn't mean that we won't be serving any red meat or pork products. It just means that it'll be a little less frequent than some of those other foods. We do have composting at all of our dining units. In the Sharp Refectory, the largest dining unit, students scrape their food into a compost container, and then they put their scraped off plate in the return bin. And then all of that food gets composted with a local partnership with a compost company. And then we also highlight all of our local vendors. We're really proud to partner with vendors all over Providence, from our coffee, our dairy products, a lot of our fruits and vegetables when in season. There's more that I'm sure Bobby would be able to expand upon. But we're really proud to be able to partner with these local vendors and supply students with not only great quality food, but food that supports the local infrastructure of Providence. So I kind of went over this a little bit already in the last slide, but you'll be able to see here. So students sign up and they go to reusepass.com. They choose Brown University. They sign up with their student ID or their student email, and then they'll be able to use that container for up to 5 days. There is no charge if a student doesn't return it. We do send messages and we do remind students, but there is no charge to participate. Even if a student already has a container out, they do have the ability to take a second container out, which is really great. We just ask that they return both of those containers when they're done with them. And this is mandatory in only our residential dining units. We also have, in all of our retail units, there is the option to take to go. That's actually our only option in all of our retail dining units is to take the food to go. Most of the food is taken out of the dining halls as opposed to eaten in the dining halls at our retail units. For our residential units, this is the option if students would like to take food to go.
All right. So a lot of great information about our meal plan and our dining halls. But we just wanted to touch on that dining services is much more than what we do just inside our dining halls. Michelle was speaking about our sustainability initiatives. Our commitment to purchasing from and working and supporting local vendors goes deep into the Providence community. So some of the things that we do outside of just what we purchase, we partner with local food trucks and host events on campus, both for public facing events, but also student facing events. We actually are proudly boasting a regionally local pizza on campus. We won a grant and secured it a few years ago to allow Narragansett Creamery, which is a local cheesemaker, to purchase equipment so they could shred pizza cheese, and that we now use in our dining halls and also other schools throughout New England use in their operations. So we're very proud of that. That's just an example. But our department overall is about 300 strong, and we have an in-house bake shop that starts their day at 4 a.m. and we have our Joe's team. That's our late night crew that clocks out at 2:30 a.m. So we're essentially 24/7 when school's in operation, and we're operating and doing meal service at our faculty club on campus, which is run through dining. We service all the hospitality and catering events across campus, and we do our all our hospitality for our athletic events on campus as well. And one thing that's not on this slide that we need to add is we actually purchase and run our own food truck and dining too. We support athletic events with that, but we also do pop-up events throughout campus.
Okay, so I know we received a lot of questions about students with food allergies, dietary restrictions, and the like. So I'll review some of the options that we have available for students. So in the Sharp Refectory Dining Hall, we're really happy to, last fall, we opened up an allergy-aware kitchen, which it doesn't serve foods that contain the top 9 allergens. It's naturally gluten-free. It doesn't serve all of the other allergens, sesame, nuts, milk, soy, all of them, I don't have to name them. And then we also have an allergy pantry located in both the Sharp Refectory and the Verney Woolley Dining. The pantry is more for grab and go items. If you need gluten-free breads, snacks, there's desserts, there's dairy-free cheeses in there. Those are more for students who are looking for a supplemental item to their meal plan or to their meal. The allergy aware kitchen, there's no accommodations needed for it. It is fully open to all students. They don't sit in a different area. They just go and grab their food from that station, and then they sit with all of their friends in the dining hall. It is open for lunch and dinner every day. It is a different meal every day. It's not open for breakfast right now. We're trying to develop recipes that are top 9 free, which is much harder than it sounds. And so the popularity of that station has really grown over the last year. And it can rotate from a meat protein, potatoes and veggies, to a rice noodle chicken bowl. We have a vegan, or not vegan, I'm sorry. There's a sweet potato shepherd's pie. So it rotates throughout the semester and throughout the year what the rotation of the meals are. We also, as I mentioned, have a new kosher kitchen that opened last fall. We have a meat side and a dairy side that runs concurrently. So students who are also vegetarian tend to like the dairy side because there's never any meat. There may be fish at that station. However, there's never any animal meat proteins. And the meat side is also really great for our students who have potentially dairy allergies, because there will never be a dairy product served at the meat side of the dairy kitchen. We have 2 full-time mishkiats who help monitor the kosher kitchen, make sure that it stays within compliance. And then we also have a new halal platform that opened up last fall as well. All of the meals prepared there are halal. We have a third-party auditor that comes and verifies that our recipes and our products are halal. And then we also, of course, have students who might not be able to meet their needs with the options given. So I will meet with those students individually, create plans for those students individually, and work with student accessibility services for those types of events as well. So if there is something that is not covered here and you'd like to understand a little bit more about what might be available for your student, please feel free to reach out to the general dining inbox, and then that'll make its way to me. So getting to know dining services. So we mentioned a little bit about, our all of the things that we do, not only on campus, but around Providence, and how connected Brown is to the general Providence community. But one of the things that we really like students to understand is we want students to know who we are and what we do. And it's not always just, here's your food, eat it, and then leave. We want them to be more invested, and a lot of times students want to be more invested in dining as well. So there is an undergraduate council of students. It's, student government. Students are welcome to join that. And then we have a dining council that's a subset of the student government, and we work with them. With this group of students, they work with the student population, get feedback and some information from students, and then that makes its way back to us. I sit on the dining council. We meet monthly, and that is a great way for us to know what we're doing well, what we could improve on, and the same thing for students. It's a great way for me and us to get information out to students so they can understand all of the great things that we do around campus. Dining also employs students. So if your student wants to get a job in Providence while they're in Rhode Island, they are welcome to apply and work with dining. They get a behind the scenes look of what dining services really is. We also offer kitchen tours throughout the semester so students can see the establishment that they're eating from every single day. That's what that photo is up top. Students are taking a look at one of the very many refrigerators that we have in the Sharp Refectory. And then there are student organizations on campus that also, some are food focused. We have sustainability focused ones, student activities. There are a lot of different student organizations that work within dining, whether we highlight them at an event or we work with them just to get different menu items on the menu throughout the semester. It's a great way for students to not only get involved with each other, but also with some of the organizations on campus. And that photo there is from a pickling event that I did from a Meet the Dietitian. So I had a table with a bunch of fresh veggies, and then we had a pickle brine. So students were given that jar, they pickled their own veggies. We did it during National Nutrition Month. So it was a way for me to show students that eating your vegetables is not just, a plain salad or a roasted veggie on the side. You can get different ways to get your veggies in, and they really, really liked that event. We'll be doing it again this fall for, I think, National Pickle Day.
All right, thanks, Michelle. That was a good lead in to our Spotlight Dinner series, because what we do first and foremost always when planning these events is we collaborate and work with student groups on campus. Everything from the decor to what's on the menu to how it's served to everything front to center, sorry. It's a great initiative. We love it. We have a lot of fun with it. And it's something that we're definitely going to keep up. And we look to do at least 2 events per semester. One of them in our residential dining halls in the Sharp Refectory because it's much larger. And then we also try to do one in Andrews Commons where we can focus a little bit more on concept and have a little bit more intimate setting. And then phase 2 of the Spotlight Dinners is we work with our in-house staff and chefs, and they really inspire and drive the menu planning and the meals. So pictured here in the center of the screen is Hut Singh. He's our chef at Andrews Commons, and he spearheads a Lunar New Year event. We've done it 2 years running now, and we plan to do it another year. It's a great event for us. It's a lot of fun, and we have a fabulous time. And then above was a farm to table Brazilian event that we did at Andrews as well. And then in the bottom right corner is a picture in the Sharp Refectory in the main dining room of an event that we did to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month. So a lot of fun. The student groups get a lot out of it, and we do as well. And our staff really loves the switch up in pace and kind of serving something new and learning about new cultures. So it's a great program that we have in dining. A lot of fun to get involved with.
So that is really the end of our full presentation. If you'd like to follow along on what your student might be involved in or looking at and what they're eating throughout the semester, you can follow us on Instagram at Brown U Dining. As mentioned, our website houses all of this information and more. So it's dining.brown.edu. And then some contact information. I had mentioned student accessibility services earlier. Their email is sas@brown.edu. Financial aid. I know that there's a financial aid webinar coming up, so a lot of your questions might be answered on there. And then our general dining inbox is dining_services@brown.edu.
Okay. And I know Mikkel linked to them in this presentation, but the link to our website has a very detailed FAQ page, and it answers a lot of questions about meal plans and just general information and initiatives that we have in dining. So it's definitely worth checking out if you get the chance.
All right. Thank you so much, Michelle and Bobby. We've got a lot of great questions to get to. And yes, the website's fantastic. The FAQs are so helpful. I've been going through it while you guys were talking, and there's just a ton of information there. So I encourage everybody to take a look, and if you have additional questions, like Michelle and Bobby both said, you can reach out to their team. We're going to go through these questions, and I know when you're thinking about meal plans for your student, there's a lot of desire to get the perfect right meal plan for your student, and we want you to get there, but we might not be able to get into the specifics that some folks have asked for. So I do encourage you to reach out to them for individual consultation if needed. But hopefully we can get to a few here that'll help folks. One that came across a couple of times was from international families who are asking about what happens. You mentioned that August 28th date for move-in. The international students who come in before that, or even other pre-orientation programs, how is that handled, Michelle?
Yeah, so there are some dining halls that are open for the summer. I am not completely sure on funding of the meal plan. It might be under the information for international students that might be covered under that. I'm not super familiar, but there are dining halls open for the summer. We do have a large summer programming here at Brown. So we have dining halls open up until the time that the meal plan for the fall starts. So students will still be able to eat. I'm just not sure on where their meal plan comes from.
Yep, and we always have a dining location open and ready to serve. For those community folks that stay around for winter break, we're actually open all throughout. We're even open Christmas Day, Christmas Eve, all the major holidays. So we're always here to serve.
And we do have a webinar for international students and families next week with Ruby and Andrew from the Global Brown Center. So I would say tune in for that because we'll get into those details. Another question about the deadline. If you could just confirm, you have to pick something by August 28th. You can change any time up to that point, but then between August 28th and September 11th, you have one option to change if your student comes and it's not fitting for them. And then after September, they're locked in till the end of the semester. Did I get that right?
Yes. Yep. So between now and August 28th, you can change 100 different times if that's what you choose. And then after the 28th, you have one change between September 28th and August 28th and September 11th. Sometimes what happens is students get to campus with one meal plan and then they talk with their other friends or maybe upperclassmen and they say, well, you should really be on this one. If this is what you're, this is where you're eating more, you should be on this one. So that's kind of what happens during those first couple of weeks of the semester. And then students have the option to change one time. And then after September 11th, they are locked in.
Great, thank you. We had a couple of sophomore transfer families who are asking, do those students look towards the sophomore plan or the first year plan? If they're coming in as a new student, a transfer, but they're technically a sophomore.
They would count as a sophomore. So any of the meal plans that are available for sophomore students, second year students, that would be applicable for those students.
Yeah. Thank you. And then what about, are the dining halls peanut and tree nut free?
We do not serve peanuts or tree nuts in any of our dining halls. There are individual PCs of peanut butter for students to choose, but it won't be baked in or cooked into any of the foods. So if it is an airborne allergy, please reach out to me. We can discuss how that can be accommodated, but it will not be cooked in any foods. There will be sesame and potentially coconut though. Coconut we do prepare with as well as sesame.
Okay.
And the same goes for the retail units as well. Anything that may contain tree nuts or peanuts are packaged, like maybe candy bars in the C-store or something like that, but nothing open or nothing in production in those units either.
Okay. One question, maybe Bobby, this one's for you, is about student athletes waking up really, and maybe just not athletes, early risers, people who get up really early in the morning. Are there morning options for them to eat?
There are very early options. If you count Josiah's open till 2 a.m. we cover that in, but also we open our dining halls at 7 a.m. Each day. And there's also in our C-stores, but also in Josiah's, we sell a lot of grab and go items that can be turned into an on-the-go breakfast. And a lot of students use Josiah's just for that, where they'll come in maybe late night and they'll grab a snack or even a late meal. And they'll use their points or another meal swipe where they'll grab anything from like fruit salad, yogurt, bottled juice, cereal, and they'll take it. And then that'll be their breakfast on the go. That'll get them through their practice. And then they can get to a dining hall after that. So we see a lot of students do that as well.
Yeah, I know I'm in the blue room quite a bit in the morning and those yogurt bowls are very popular.
Very popular. Yep.
And there is one person that there's one person that I didn't mention earlier. There is a dietitian that lives within athletics.
Yep.
And so if your student is struggling for whatever reason, her name is Emily. I can share that information with Mikkel and we can share that out. But she is great. Her and I work together a lot on helping students gain access to foods if they need.
Great. Can you talk about ingredients, individual ingredients? So specifically, I guess folks who don't have the big 9 allergies, you know, I was just browsing through your website and there's a lot of detailed allergy information on My Meal, or I think the meal mail that can be delivered to your inbox. But can you talk about how do students find ingredients for foods and so they can make sure they're staying safe?
Sure. So this is a little bit of a long answer. So, but we are currently in the process of switching over to a new menu management system, which means that all of the information that you might see on My Meal or somewhere that's linked out to the website right now is currently being switched out. We've been working on it for the past couple of years, and we are trying to perfect it by the time students come on campus. But there will be disclaimers out. There may be some inconsistencies between the website while we figure everything out for this first couple of months that this is live, because it is going live in a few short weeks. And so if you have an ingredient that there is an allergy to that is outside of those top 9, or even if it is part of those top 9, I do encourage students to ask a manager or supervisor just to verify the product, maybe to verify how it's cooked or to see the package itself. Those are always those best practices to ensure that there is safety when consuming in the dining hall. And especially most items in the dining halls, the larger dining halls are self-serve. And if something is prepared near something else or prepared by something else, there's never a guarantee that something might not have that type of allergen that your student might be allergic to.
Absolutely. That's a great point. And don't be afraid to ask either. That's what our supervisors, managers, chefs, that's what we're all here for, is to make sure that everyone is safe and well fed, and we're open to any and all questions, and we're fully transparent with every ingredient that we use in our kitchens.
Thank you. So we already mentioned we can't get into the details for every single circumstance, but on a very high level, can you talk about what the main differences are between the 2 meal plans? Who wants to start?
Sure. I could kind of try to give my best high level overview. So I think really our weekly plans are designed for those students that are on campus all the time. I mean, I know everyone's living on campus, but maybe don't have anything going on out in the Providence community, or maybe don't live close by and aren't commuting home, where they're given a set amount of meals a week and then those meals roll over. Our flexible plan means exactly that. They're given an allotted meals for a semester and they can use those at any time throughout the semester. So that provides a lot more flexibility. And I think depending on which one you go with and choose, I think just depends on individual circumstances and what they have going on in addition to their responsibilities and everything that they have going to school.
Michelle, do you want to add anything on that?
No, I think Bobby covered it pretty completely. I mean, swipes and points are used at most dining halls. And so swipes or meal plans that are higher in swipes, students can still use those swipes to get into the dining halls that primarily the meal plans that are higher in points, students can still access the dining halls that are their primary tender is swipes. So there might be more flexibility with one, but it doesn't mean that you can't get into the dining halls that you might be looking for.
That's a good point.
Great, thank you so much. And again, I'd encourage people to reach out to dining directly if you have very specific detailed questions. And we also will have our financial services webinar next week, which will get more into the fees and things like that that are associated with that. Can you talk about, do the dining halls take cash? say somebody here wants to come and visit and just experience the dining halls, will you be able to get in just with cash?
Absolutely, yeah. We're open to at all our units to the public. Anyone's welcome at any time. We accept cash and credit at all our locations.
Great, thank you. And then we had some questions about finding fresh fruit and vegetables, if they just want to buy it for, you know, their dorm room, or you know, if they're living off campus and they want to cook for themselves. What are the fresh fruit and vegetable options nearby?
So if they're on meal plan, they won't have a shortage of fresh fruit or vegetables within the dining halls and the retail units. So obviously it's all you care to eat in residential dining when you're in the unit, but in retail we offer meal combos, and those meal combos all come with a side of fresh fruit if they desire it. It's self-serve, and they can take it to go, they can take it back. As I mentioned, Josiah, has a lot of students use it late night, not just for that late night snack or meal. They're also getting things for the morning if, you know, they want to wake up a little later and go right to class and eat something on the go. We have a variety of fresh cut fruit, but also hand fruit and whole fruit available at all our dining units. And it's no charge in the retail units. I say no charges, it's included with the purchase of a meal combo. So those items are complimentary.
And we got a lot of questions about cooking in the dorms ahead of this webinar, and that really is more of a res life question, because it's going to depend on which dorm that you're living in. So I would maybe wait to see which dorm you're assigned to, and then you can kind of think about the options to cook. But there's a lot of residence halls that have cooking facilities and the opportunity to cook. And
we sell a lot of like convenience meals at our campus market. We also have some fresh produce and eggs and milk and everything there. And for those of you who are not familiar with Providence and specifically the East Side, there's two fairly large markets within walking distance. We have a Trader Joe's and we have a couple Whole Foods that are all within walking distance. And then we have pharmacies and C-stores in and around Thayer Street as well. So there's plenty of places to purchase food and beverages in the area.
And I believe the shuttle as well, if walking is difficult, I believe the shuttle brings students pretty close to where the Trader Joe's is.
It does, almost right outside. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's been a great addition to the neighborhood for sure.
Yep.
We did have a question about the kosher kitchen, and it looks like, is it closed on Fridays and Saturdays?
It is, yeah.
So what's the option at those points in time?
So we have grab and go meals at all of our dining locations that students can grab. Their kosher, they're packaged, and then they're brought to the dining hall. Students can take those. However, the Hillel house on campus also provides meals on Fridays, I believe. Or yes, I believe. I don't remember which day, but they also I would recommend students who are looking for kosher meals get familiar with Hillel, which is a Brown RISD co-op in Providence. And
you talked about the spotlight dinners, which are always well attended. Do you make food available for those who might have dining restrictions at those spotlight dinners?
We do, yeah. We try to have options for everyone, and the spotlight meals are no exception.
Yeah, now it also depends on if it is something that is classically dairy based, maybe we might not have an option, but we do have, if the spotlight dinner is say in the Sharp Refectory, more oftentimes than not, the allergen station in that dining hall will participate in the spotlight dinner. So they'll have their own variety of something that is reflected elsewhere.
That's a great point. And we also plan them purposely on nights where we're full operation in dining, where nothing's closed, everything's open at that same time. So if a student maybe doesn't see a lot of value in it doesn't really like what's being served that night at that spotlight dinner, they can go to one of our other units. And probably won't have to wait as long either, because the spotlight dinners take a large amount of traffic on the nights that we do it, because they're very popular.
Now, again, back to the deadlines. We had one that was asking, is the deadline midnight on September 11th for making that change? And then after that, absolutely no changes, right?
After that, absolutely no changes. And it is 11:59 on September 11th.
All right, so everybody mark your calendars for that.
And if I'm wrong, then I will let Mikkel know and she'll share that information. But from my understanding, it is 11:59 p.m. on September 11th.
Okay.
That's my understanding as well.
That makes sense. 11:59 sounds like it would make sense. We had another question about the kosher kitchen. During Passover, does it serve Passover friendly meals?
It does not. Not currently. It didn't last semester. I'm not completely sure on the plans for this semester. I would imagine the same plan is that it does not stay open. However, there are kosher for Passover grab and go meals. And then I know Hillel participates heavily during Passover to provide meals for students.
Okay. And then again about switching, is it possible to switch again before the start of the spring semester? So if you've gone through the entire fall semester and you want to make a change, is it possible at that time to make a change?
I don't know if that's been determined or not. If we have that information, if that's going to be an option for students in the switch between the semesters.
Okay, we can follow up on that at a later time.
Yeah.
What else do we have here? Can you talk about how students eat a vegetarian diet at Brown?
Sure. So we have in the Sharp Refectory Dining Hall, again, we have a harvest station, which does not serve any meat products. So that will always have a vegetarian option. Same thing like with the kosher dairy side, it may on occasion have fish, but most of the time it is a meat-free option, or it is always a meat-free option. But there are also options outside of those two stations. I know at Andrews, often, most times there is a tofu or some type of plant protein when there is also a animal protein. Every Monday I get a noodle bowl with tofu at Andrews. It is my go-to. And then most stations have some type of alternative within the retail units.
Yeah, every platform that we operate in retail or station, if you will, has a vegetarian or most times vegan option that goes with the theme of that concept or platform.
And is there one meal plan that first year students tend to opt for more than another?
It really depends. I think the one that's automatically assigned if you don't make a change is the 20 weekly. Mm-hmm. But there is no popularity in terms of those two meal plans.
Yeah, and it varies a little bit year to year. I'd say the 20 weekly is probably the most comprehensive or the safest, if you will. I mean, it's you get more meals than anything, and that's really what we do best is serving full meals in our dining halls. And some of our spaces are small, very small kitchens and don't have large seating areas. So in those units, they might be taking the food to go, where in Sharp upstairs in the MDR, it's really about community. You're getting your food, you're sitting with your peers and everything, and that's what our all you care to eat dining halls and spaces are designed for. And the 20 weekly will give them the most access to those locations. So I'd probably say overall it's that one.
And there may be students who, we were talking about Blue Room a little bit earlier. Blue Room doesn't take swipes. There may be students who every morning they really want to get a latte. Like that's what they go through every single day. And that's the only location that you can really get that type of coffee drink. So maybe if that's something that they're looking for, they want a plan that has more points on it as opposed to swipes. Maybe they're not going into those all you care to eat facilities as much. But they still, want to go into the dining hall and meet with their friends and go into those things. So maybe a points heavy meal plan for them might make sense.
Yep. And flex points can be purchased at any time throughout the semester and added on. So it comes with all of our meal plans, but you can also supplement the meal plan at any time with more flex points. and they just act as a declining balance on your student's meal plan.
And we've got about 2 months until the deadline. So this is a good time to have a conversation with your student and say, how do you eat? What would make sense for a meal plan, and how do you intend to use this? So,
Absolutely.
I think it's a good conversation point.
Yep.
So, final question for you both. Say you're a parent, your student's coming to you and saying, I can't find anything to eat on campus. I'm struggling to either due to the time or what's offered. And of course, all these parents here want to make sure that their students taken care of and they're getting the food they need to do well here. What would be your advice to a parent in a situation like that? And Michelle, I'll start with you.
I would recommend that the student reaches out to me. I mean, that is something that I work with students with every day. I mean, they're from anything to being anxious and not wanting to go into the dining hall because of the amount of people in there. We work with those students to try and figure out a schedule, maybe when the meal plan or when the dining halls aren't as busy, to students who have a really busy schedule and they have classes and then they have sports and then they have organizations. All of these different scenarios happen to students, and that's what I'm here to do. I want to work with students. My only goal is to make sure that students have access to food that they like and that they enjoy. They might not find a meal every single day that they are absolutely in love with and want to post on Instagram, but that is the same thing at home. I mean, I know I make meals at home that are not my favorite, but they keep me fed. But then maybe tomorrow I have a meal that I really enjoy. So I would definitely also say it might take time to figure out where you want to go for food, what meals you're really looking forward to. We have about a 3 to 4 week cycle in most of our dining, or in the residential dining units. So they might find like every Monday or every Sunday, I really like the dinner at Sharp Refectory, and so I'm going to go there. And every Monday they have a noodle bowl at Andrews, and I want to go there. They'll figure out that kind of schedule themselves, depending on what they like, and what their friends go to, and based on their schedule. So it might take a couple of weeks for them to figure that out. But once they do, I do think that they'll succeed and they'll thrive.
All right, and thank you, Michelle. That's great advice. How about you, Bobby?
Yeah, I mean, I think Michelle brought up a lot of great points. I would add that if this feedback is coming at the very beginning of the semester when everything's new, I would say give it some time. We do have a ton of variety and options throughout campus, and for anyone to be able to, make a decision on something or have an impression just in the first couple weeks would be unrealistic, because it's going to take some time before they kind of find out some of the best kept secrets, if you will. Sometimes the upperclassmen will hide them a little bit. They won't tell about their favorite special, their favorite thing on campus, because they don't want the lines to get backed up, but eventually they'll find it. And I'd also say, Michelle touched on the 3 to 4 week menu cycle. There's a ton of variety in there. And in our all you care to eat facilities, there are more recipes and composed dishes. I think what a student will find is when they go to the retail side, it's more customizable stations. So the station may not change over, but your option, your experience can be different every day of the week if you'd like it to be. And something as simple as a sandwich station or a salad station, some of our units are large enough where you could visit it every day throughout the whole semester and you could get a different combination on your sandwich or in your salad. Or the noodle bowl that Michelle mentioned at Andrews, you could get it literally 30 different ways. It might be, that dish might be served every Monday, but it's customizable to your taste. And I think they'll quickly find out or get some favorite things across campus and then kind of gravitate to that. And they have the ability to kind of make it their own because they can pick and choose what exactly goes into that. It's made to order, it's made in front of them, and it's made for them. So I think once they figure that out, their eyes open a little bit and they see everything that we do have to offer as a dining program.
Yeah, and one more thing based on that customizable feature is I mean, I do this every day. I eat in the dining hall every day too, is I might not like the entree, the full entree that one station has to offer in the all you care to eat facilities. But I really like the side that they have there. And then I'll go over to the allergen station and get the protein that they have over at the allergen station. And maybe I really like the potato that they serve at the kosher station. And then that's the great thing about that flexibility that students have within the all you care to eat facilities. And I call it shopping the dining hall, because you can really create a whole new meal. I've seen students make buffalo chicken dip based off of things that they've seen in the dining hall, and we've never had buffalo chicken dip in the dining hall, but they make their own. And that's one of the great things that's really fun. And one thing I forgot to mention that students have really taken advantage of, and I know we only have 5 minutes, so I'm sorry, but we last semester started a student pasta toss station. So rather than us making it for them, we have ingredients for them, and then we have hot pans for them to be able to create their own pasta dish. And we're looking at expanding that. So maybe 1 week we'll have a rice bowl, maybe 1 week we'll have a pho, maybe 1 week we'll have the pasta, and then they can go and grab ingredients that they like and then make it themselves and add their own seasonings, add their own, oil or water or cheese or no cheese. And so that really adds to that flexibility and that customization that we're talking about, and to help all students, because we have so many palettes that we have to meet. So one way that we do that is by making the students being able to, cook for themselves and make their own thing.
Definitely.
That's fantastic. I'm going to be over there right now.
Please, you're welcome anytime.
Yeah.
Well, thank you both. This has been fantastic. And again, if anybody has questions that we haven't answered, you can send them to family@brown.edu. They'll come to my office, and then I can distribute them to dining services or somewhere else, wherever you need, if you still have some outstanding questions.